Hey guys, welcome to Battletech Endosteel Season 3, Episode 3, 3038, Part 6. We've got Kane Damiel here as Admiral LeBeau. Just a quick heads up, we're not going to have an episode for like a month. But in that time, there'll still be content for you to watch because I'm launching my new VTuber YouTube channel, Count Ronald Swan. You can find out more by looking on Discord or checking this YouTube channel, for that announcement.
I've heard tell of that guy. Chosen by Abadar, they say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't reference Abadar or Galarian, so I'm giving everything obscure titles that make it very clear, like he's from, he traveled to the country of swordsmen, and he's from the country of dragon slayers, and it's the god of coin and roads.
Yes, the great god of coin and roads.
Yeah. From a fantasy world you may know of.
Oh my.
Hey, look, man, I'm trying not to get sued out here, okay?
Legally distinct.
A wise choice.
Yeah. Of course, you're here in your suit to plead some cases here.
Well, I had to dress in proper Federated Sons lawyer garb.
I went halfway there.
So it sounds like Kane and Eddie have spent most of their time preparing for any legal trickery, and it sounds like Lachlan is just preparing to word cannon me, but we don't start at the trial. We start 10 minutes before the fateful jump where Admiral LeBeau may find himself imprisoned. Admiral LeBeau, your life is really rough right now. It's probably the lowest point you've ever been at, and you did have to order the death of your own brother and the abandonment and exile of most of your followers. That was pretty bad. This is horrible, though. Morale in the whole fleet is plummeting. For one thing, there's an entire section of the fleet that doesn't trust you and doesn't like you because you're a former pirate. No one calls you Sir LeBeau. No one bothers to treat you like the knight that you are. You are either the executive officer of this fleet who all of the work is dumped on, or the guy that everyone ultimately loathes and dumps their work on. Speaking of dumps, with this fleet comes troubles that these nobles never saw and never heard from, which is plumbing throughout the fleet, just like any other lighting fixtures, all need to be repaired on a regular basis. You and your crewmates and the entire fleet don't have time to laze about and cause trouble and think of greater things. You're a little busy making sure that the floating tin boxes everyone needs to breathe inside of continue to float along. But your biggest problem is the children. It's the children, you see, because the Seeker dropship attached to your jump ship has way more people in it than it's supposed to. And these children do not have the same gut bacteria that the rest of the fleet does. So now that they're being introduced to inner sphere processed foods, it is a poopy time. And poopy time in zero gravity with a bunch of diuretic kids. That's a lot of cleaning. And it's recycled air. Previously, the Seeker was considered to be a luxury posting. You would get your own stateroom. You would have some space to move around. Over the last few weeks, as the fleet has traveled with these children, the Seeker is now considered to be a satanic punishment forced upon the unworthy who would dare to upset you. It used to be people would trade duty shifts to get onto the Seeker. Now they're doing the opposite. They're trying to get anywhere but the Seeker. On the other hand, while you're looking through your paperwork, there's also some performances being put on right now. Your crew needs to keep themselves entertained. So not only is there like a book club and a fan fiction novelist group. There's also like a series of theatrical plays. One's called The Dance of the Dragons is coming up in the next few days after this next jump. They're going to begin finishing the 0G ballet section. And once they've got that nailed down, they're going to invite anyone who wants to come see 3 matinee showings of it. You've also got some paperwork from Sergeant Van Loo. She is starting to lead something of an ideological rebellion against you. It's not overt, nothing you could keelhaul her or take her for mutiny for, but there are whispers among the crew that she's been talking to people. They use the following words to describe you: square, old, tired. There's no fight left in you. Remember the old days? That sort of thing. And the final issue that you have is from your ship's counselor, which is an informal position, Ensign Kathy Chambers. There have been complaints throughout the fleet that the Duchess has been attempting to flirt with women in their 30s and men between the ages of 30 and 50. That it's been getting very overt, very reckless. Some people are getting uncomfortable with it. Some people are getting uncomfortable with other people's reaction to it. Yeah, get the ensign, mostly her job overall is to make people who feel bad about killing people and taking their things feel better. Dealing with a child becoming an adult, recklessly abusing their high noble position and attractiveness, not really in her wheelhouse. So all of these land on your desk roughly simultaneously, right before a jump.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to solve them all at once, but I just wanted to give everyone the idea that you're a little overworked. He's taking notes. This motherfucker's in here taking notes.
Yeah. So what were the age and gender groups for the Duchess being a nuisance?
Women in their 30s and men between the ages of 30 and 50.
And how old is she?
I think she's
a teenager, isn't she?
Yeah, she's like 15 or 16 right now.
Nice.
Does it seem to be limited to like just to like lower crewmen, or is she just sort of picking
it's everybody.
whoever? Okay, so does that mean she's taking passes at LeBeau? He's a male in his 30s to 50s.
Yeah, probably actually.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I do declare.
So what? I guess the first question, of course, then is 18 the age of consent in the Federated Sons? How much of a problem is this?
Listen. It doesn't go that far at any point. It's just concerning people. So,
she's just making a nuisance of herself.
Yeah, she just turned 16.
Okay. I think so is Chambers saying that there are complaints coming in about her conduct on the crew.
Correct.
I think
not just your crew, the whole fleet.
Oh, I mean, LeBeau doesn't care about anybody in the other part of the fleet.
Well, you are the executive officer of this fleet.
So he does some work in it, but his heart's not really into it.
Yeah. All right.
Did you hear what I said?
I'm just making sure you understand that this problem is being dumped in your lap by other ships.
Right. I'm just also saying that it's fairly obvious. It's fairly obvious in his implementation of things that he has favorites. So
that will make everyone feel better.
I mean,
it's not like they're treating him well, so it's kind of like a reaping of their own actions.
I mean, unless Anko tells him otherwise, he doesn't really particularly care about the favoritism.
To be fair, it's not really their fault that they dislike the known dangerous pirate.
Yeah, he's used to being disliked. He's been disliked by at least some people on Whittington for his entire existence there. So
I think. Did this clear up the crackling you guys said you were hearing?
Oh,
I haven't heard it anymore.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds better.
Okay, we have the poop issues with the children. Is that related to the plumbing issues?
I mean,
or is it a separate
that's just
issue?
children.
So just to be clear, the plumbing issue isn't just plumbing issues, right? It's electrical, it's air ducts and such. You know,
it's standard maintenance stuff. He also
It's
has
just
to
that
coordinate everybody else's.
Correct. And the fleets, the use of those supplies is much higher than normal because of the additional passengers, but it's breaking down faster than it should, honestly. You don't know if people are slacking on their maintenance or if there's some sort of systemic issue.
So I think something of note is the supplies that LeBeau brought for his ships are the supplies that he will coordinate to have repair his ships.
Yeah.
And the supplies that everybody else brought will be coordinated to repair their own ships.
That's what each ship would want.
Right. So
no one wants to lend out their supplies to another ship. They all came prepared, right?
Right. So he figures there's going to be no fighting on that. And depending on the experience for some of these other crews and ships, LeBeau's people are very accustomed to living in space, and they are generally well supplied.
Okay. So is the rest of the fleet, more or less.
Right. And when you're talking about low morale in the fleet in general, other than the Van Loo thing, is that fleet-wide morale problems?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not just the jump ships all don't like each other. Individual dropship crews are starting to build rivalries, but in general, there are 3 camps: the neutrals. Well, there's 4: the neutrals, the nobles, the people who don't like LeBeau, and LeBeau.
It's the political alignment square.
No, out of that, nobody likes the nobles, right? Like, no one's ever going to be like, wow, we're such great friends with the nobles. And then the anti-LeBeaus and the LeBeaus are starting to, not like each other, right?
Okay.
I don't want to be friends with them anyway, AP.
I know. And look, this is the correct order of things, right? People should fear the nobility, but it doesn't make them happy while they're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that there've been a revolution or two about that, in fact.
I can imagine that on this kind of longer voyage, it could be a little bit taxing, to cater to nobility.
I disagree. I think they should all fall in line as I chase this white whale, and am driven mad by my quest for treasure.
Speaking of letting them eat cake, Yusuf is trying to have his cake and eat it too.
Oh, don't worry.
Because he's trying to sympathize with the peasants and be like, I hear your complaints, I'm working on it, that kind of thing.
You always need that kind of person. You always need the one that sympathizes. Yeah.
Listen,
I feel like
here's the thing, Yusuf, it's a Kane episode, but I have a whole little section just for you. Just to
I'm sorry.
Continue to drive the moral dagger into your back.
Remembering stuff that happened last episode with the ripping off the locals for their vids.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a scene earlier of him getting a few of his staff together and being like, look, we have an opportunity here to make a bunch of money. These motherfuckers, we're just going to leave them behind anyways. What are the nobles going to care? Just make some money on the side.
Hey, why are you taking notes? What are you?
Oh my God.
On a criminal conspiracy?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, who would have thought?
And I feel like there was probably, because we had forces deployed, that there was probably also some theft going on to acquire some extra supplies.
Interesting.
Sure. I mean, we did get those diamonds. So, I mean,
it seems only fair. Like, those guys are going to die from that blight anyway. I mean, may as well just give us all the food.
That may be a valid moral rationale, but that's one that Philip did not need.
Is it though? Is it a valid moral rationale?
No.
Perspective,
If perspective, moral, I don't know.
But I think that he would have recognized that they were used to having opportunities and then taking them violently. So I think one of the things he tried to do, at least for the morale of his own crew, was to be like, all right, we're on this planet and we know that the nobles have their own business here, but that doesn't mean we can't do our own business. I want you to see what sort of things you can make off with, make some deals, make sure we're definitely on the better end of things to keep them entertained and to keep them taking advantage of people.
Okay.
Look, these nobles don't give a shit what you do. These
things are so far below the things that the nobles seem to care about.
Yeah, the scope of what we care about. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I still love that people are messaging me and they're like, how come we didn't learn more about Safai? And I'm like, Shit, I don't know. No one gave a fuck about all that backstory and lore. Don't worry, Safai. I just want to confirm, Safai is going to be the subject of a Battletech episode. It will definitely return. And because Anko lied about LeBeau,
lied.
Yeah, you said he was dead and that you took his fleet. He's
I
alive.
didn't say he was dead.
You said you were.
I said I commandeered his fleet.
You lied.
Okay,
There's no semantic way of
lied.
arguing your way out of it. You
You
lied.
definitely lied.
You definitely
lying
lied.
about lying.
And if you're gonna try playing semantic games, don't bother because Comstar doesn't give a fuck. As a result of that, someone who tricks and steals from others is called a con, but not C-O-N. It's a K-H-A-N. And pulling a caper of that sort is called a con job now on Safai.
Oh,
Gonna run a con on him. Your name has
God.
become an
Gonna run
insult.
gonna run a con job to steal some McDougalls.
That's gonna be a
my
weird
God.
episode. So, any solutions you want to offer here, Admiral LeBeau?
I think for dealing with these kids,
Yeah.
two things. First is there is absolutely no children allowed through the airlock. They are on the secret and they are not coming through onto the jump
There's
ship.
no problem with that.
So that is a self-contained cesspool of awful.
Interestingly, the kids are really good at obeying orders and accepting kids in such a broad age range should probably not uniformly accept authority without question. These kids, it's creepy how good they are at obeying whatever adults tell them to do.
I think something else he would have done is he would have reached out to Yusuf. Requesting. Requesting, definitely only requesting, whether or not it would be possible in order to ease the strain on maintenance cycles to offer some of the mercenaries to assist with managing some of the ancillary issues caused by the children that he has voluntarily brought aboard the fleet.
Babysitting mercenaries?
Or at least
You think
mercenaries
wrong.
helping like cleaning and corralling, but not necessarily caring
you
for
think
them.
someone named Boomer's gonna go over there and get involved in childcare rather than just paying a teen $15 to watch a kid for 6 hours?
He's asking, yeah, but he's going to make the request to see if Yusuf is willing to send anyone over, and he'll put in some figures about the the ratio of maintenance staff that's involved in that in the current time and projected possible equipment failures if that pacing keeps up with the crew.
I love the idea of putting mech warriors in charge, but like mercenary mech warriors, if you think nobles don't have scruples, they're absolutely going to have children fights with bets like within like the first day.
I mean,
these are not good people.
Jesus.
Wow.
They're Yusuf, as far as Philip's concerned, if Yusuf's guys are doing things like that with the children, if Yusuf's okay with that, that's okay with
No,
Philip,
he isn't. That's why he would absolutely never allow them. People like, no, they were trained killers. They're only good at killers. I never let them off the leash out of their wire. Like they're not. Yeah, he's tried his best with them, right?
That said, I'm not going to confirm, or I'm not going to say that this is true on Safai, but honestly, with the society and where it was, would not be surprised if something like that was already happening.
No, I got, I don't know, like it sounds bad, but I just had kind of like idiocracy vibes.
Yeah, for sure. I had that too.
Look, I know Kane knows where I'm at because I planned this whole Safai storyline before Starship Troopers Terran Command came out. And the way that the government propagandizes in Terran Command is pretty much one for one how the Safai government runs things. They're just like, that's right, everything's going great on the war front. We're giving our all, and those that aren't are being executed for treason.
Oh man.
So does Yusuf deny the request entirely?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, he does it with the stamp too. He ink stamps it and then takes a photo of that stamp.
No, I would probably talk to you in person and be like,
okay,
are you sure? Yeah.
I mean, do you want to do that?
Yeah, I would love that real quick. Yeah,
all right,
sure.
You have a jump counter of 3 minutes before the next jump.
I mean, I figured this is an existing issue that's been going on for.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I just want to heighten the tension and drama.
Okay.
And
Sure.
give you 3 minutes.
Chief,
Okay, I can work with that.
hey boss, do you really want? I just got this. I got your memo here. Do you really want fucking dog and salsa out here teaching these kids?
Well, I figure I'd at least present an opportunity other than the sort of things that I'm accustomed to doing out here. I understand how to do things differently now that I'm a knight.
Yeah.
Previously, I would have just put the children to work, but I'm not sure if that is.
Honestly, that's better than what they would have in mind.
I see.
Listen, can I offer someone else to do this, but like not these guys?
Absolutely. If you can secure me some help, that would help make sure that my men don't get worn out in a critical time.
Oh, sure. I understand how these long voyages can do, and I understand how much stress I'm putting everyone under doing this. So, yeah, I'll help out. I'll scrounge together a team that I can trust.
I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, mon ami.
Yeah, of course. All right. Looking at that countdown timer on your desk, looks like I better go jump or go brace myself. So I'll see you in a little bit.
Oui. I must get up to the deck.
Okay, with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, people on the bridge are strapping themselves in. Confirmation alarms start going off up and down the fleet. Because you're the biggest jump ship, you have to start jumping first because you take the longest.
Yeah.
Your ship mates confirm that 2 fighters are ready to be launched as soon as you arrive, and then another pair of ready 5s will be like the pilots are on standby and they'll be ready to jump into their craft. Everybody checks in and just indicates that they, like if any emergencies when you arrive, the plan is to just starfish the dropships out and deploy mechs in the mech bays to just shoot mechs out.
Yeah, open the doors, let them shoot out the.
Yep, everybody.
Okay.
But it's tradition. Everyone, even though you've already done this dozens of times, everyone confirms that they're all in position. Someone double confirms it, like they read it back. It's pure Navy right there as it works its way up to you, and there's 10 seconds left on that timer. Anything you want to do?
I think when he's got like the minute left and he's looking at his status stuff, because he's a superstitious fellow, he's a space sailor. Superstition runs in his fleet. When they go to do the jumps as like a good luck thing, they always do a bit of a shanty.
Okay.
And having heard the stuff from Van Loo and stuff and thinking about it, for this jump, since this Van Loo news is new to him, he's going to use an older one. An older one that they used to use when they knew that they were leaving with a particular target in mind.
Okay. All right. The bridge is confused because you haven't used this one in a while. But Van Loo picks up the call for it on the bridge, and like everybody else joins in. As you get through like the first 2 lines, everyone's voices start to slur as time slows down. The bridge stretches and then boing, boing. Like reality is just fucking right up with you right now. The clock on the wall stretches but continues counting while everyone else is moving in super slow motion, and your thoughts continue traveling at a normal pace, even if your body's like, whoa. This is normal for jump ship transit. A lot of people have what's called what's the jump transit disorientation syndrome?
TDS.
Yeah. Those people are not in this fleet. Like TDS sufferers
Curl
are
would
not
have hated
brought
this
along
trip.
for this sort of thing.
I forgot to mention one more thing. I'm sorry.
You secretly took TDS as a drawback.
No, absolutely not. He grew up in space. In order to try to, because he doesn't want to tell the Duchess, no, stop talking to my crew, stop talking to the other crews.
Yeah.
I think he wants to try to mitigate some of the issue by entertaining her.
All right. We'll see how that works out.
Sharing stories.
Yeah. We'll see how much time you get to spend with her. When you arrive, you send out an active radar pulse, of course. So the arrival of the fleet sends out a massive incoming radiation wave, right? So when someone jumps into a system, it's real obvious that someone's coming. And the typical places to jump are the zenith and the nadir of a star, right? So there's a 50-50 chance that if someone's at a star, you'll jump near them. You lost that coin flip. By the time your sensor tank is displaying what's going on out there, people are like they're unstrapping themselves. Everyone is strapping themselves back in before the red alert goes off because they see that there are contacts of unknowns out there. Outside the bridge window, a fighter with a crimson V flies so close you can actually see the pilot as he buzzes the tower of your jump ship. It's fucking chaos out there. The other jump ships haven't finished arriving yet. They're still in the process of the jump. So you are alone out here. And then as they into existence, you're being mobbed by dropships, and fighters are already all over you. Like, your two ready to go fighters are out the door and are immediately like, they're just like, oh, he's already on me. Oh shit, he's got me locked up. There's just dropships heading towards you, weapons armed, ready to go. It is not a great situation. And there's someone calling the count over the radio, demanding for your immediate surrender. That appears to be bypassing your authority as the admiral. You have a few spare minutes here to react, because it's from what you hear over this comm system, you might be surrendered for a nice little trial.
I'm going to cancel all scramble and call the fighters back in.
Okay.
So the dropships are still attached?
They immediately detached, as is policy. Or if they detect something, everyone's starfished away, and now it's going to take, like 20 or 30 minutes to slowly back into position.
Okay. All right. So I'll recall the dropships, let them know that they are required to redock. I'll call in the aerospace fighters. I'll send a runner to go get the count.
Okay.
Family
steps up next to you when that happens. She says, "Could hold him hostage, trade him for you."
Who all is on this flight deck? Is there anybody on this flight deck who doesn't work directly for LeBeau?
No.
Okay.
And she's saying it quietly so the rest of the crew can't hear. They're shouting and screaming. Even though there's not a fight on, people here are still nervous that you'll be shot just because you're pirates. Someone didn't follow Comstar procedure perfectly. So there's like sweating and tension and crosstalk. And she's just stepping next to you. She's doing that thing where she's having a conversation where she's standing next to you facing the other direction and just speaking slightly out of the side of her mouth to you so no one suspects what's going on.
The thought had occurred to me, and I applaud your initiative. It seems we see the same way in this matter. Unfortunately, Comstar does not care about the matters of nobles in a world like Whittington. No, I don't think this will be a case for the cutlass. I think this will take the razor-sharp dagger to get us out.
That if we need to, we can cut into the side of their dropships and get you out.
I'm counting on it.
Okay.
And I'm counting on the amount of damage you can cause if that's needed.
We'll need a code word.
If they decide that they're going to execute me, Comstar at least pretends to be somewhat civil. I will request the opportunity to give a final speech to my men. Let's see, what was the name of the asteroid base? Did we come up with a name for the asteroid base?
I didn't have a name.
Okay.
New Nice.
Let's see. Oh, I'll think of that in a second. But if during the speech I speak of the memories of the asteroid base, you know that we will either make an escape with our secondary systems, or I'll expect you to protect the owner of the fleet and take as many of them with us as we can.
I'll make sure the men are ready to go at any moment.
I know I can count on you.
Okay. She salutes, and then she goes gathering up a bunch of anonymous, generic-looking, well-built people with a startling array of covert weaponry hidden around their body. Knives, sawed-off shotguns, the kind of things you'd want to use while boarding a starship and you don't want to punch a hole through the side of it in the process, killing everyone. McDougall, you reach the bridge with LeBeau after having negotiated the surrender of this man.
I would want to check while he's on his way up. Are all of our we've suffered no damage during the jump? All of our primary and secondary systems are operational?
There's no known damage, but because all the dropships, disconnected, they need everybody to get back together before they make that.
But the jump ship shows all good to go.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I agreed that they could try both Anko and LeBeau. What exactly did I agree to last time? Sorry.
Been a minute. Let's recap what actually happened there, because I forgot.
They want to question Anko Khan. They definitely are going to try LeBeau.
I think yeah, Lachlan just arrives on the bridge and waits to see what you have to say. He's definitely wearing his laser pistol very conspicuously.
Yeah. And this fleet is massively larger than ours, right?
So there is a jump ship tender, which is a jump ship. It's incredibly rare. I mean, it used to be done a lot during the Age of Exploration, but it really isn't done anymore because they don't have the technology. So it's a jump ship that has, instead of drop ships attached to it, it has fold-out space station that connected to a dropship port, something airtight plastic, accordioned in, and then it whoosh out into a large open space, which can, be fitted with office partitions or a medical bay. There's wall panels that you can fit into grooves. The jump ship has, each dropship port has one of these accordioned jump ship tender parts to it. And then there's a dozen jump ships here. There are dropships that are currently breaking orbit either to head towards a nearby planet or coming up from the planet in a very well-calculated ballet of orbital physics.
Okay, so this is a massively larger fleet.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have that many more fighters than you. They've only got about 16 aerospace fighters from what you can see, but they were already on you ahead of time. And you're not really sure. You've never heard of any of these mercenary groups before.
Yeah.
So they kind of had the jump on us, is what it is. So that's really the tactical disadvantage we're currently at.
I also want to have looked at the once our sensors came online. I wanted to try to get a feel for these mercenaries, their deployment pattern around here, their aerospace. I'm trying to get an idea of the proficiency of these mercenary forces.
Okay, interesting. I'd like you to make a roll.
Okay, how do you want me to make a roll?
Are you
That's
a tabletop simulator?
In this game?
That's how I'd like you to make a roll. Let's do you need to hit an 8 or better on 2d6 sort of deal. For a knowledge mercenary operations.
Does LeBeau have a sheet?
No. Would I get any sort of bonus to this roll because I'm trying to analyze aerospace stuff? And
no, these guys specifically are totally unknown to you in any way.
Well, I'm not trying to see if I can recognize the group so much as I'm trying to analyze I'm trying to get a feel for their general level of competency.
Their tactics, basically.
Oh, well, yeah, that's why I'm setting it only at an 8.
Okay. All right. Well, if anybody has watched Solaris, you can see why I'm really nervous about rolling.
Wow.
I'll take the
exactly.
I'll take the
Hey, there I go.
All right. I'll take the
Way to
eight.
go, dude.
The way that these mercenary groups operate is extremely odd. There's something about it that you don't understand, but overall, they appear to have a high level of military preparedness and are no nonsense. For instance, when you recalled your fighters in, their wing group commander countermanded your orders because they didn't just want they want to make sure that your pilots understand that they are in control. So like their wing group commander was like, no, lock your weapons, turn your sensors off, open your communication suite, and you will fly at our directions. We're going to tell you how you get back to your dropship, sort of deal. They're taking zero risks. They are not going to allow any of your ships to like start a suicide run on any of their ships. They never allow themselves to like drift through between jump ships where they might be locked onto by multiple sets of weapons. They are treating this fleet as if it is a present and imminent threat, and they are a serious military force. There is something very odd about the way that their pilots pair up and fly, and maybe it's just the way that they're all coordinated in circling and flying together. You've not really seen anything like it before because you didn't roll well enough.
Okay. All right. Where had they made those two aerospace fighters fly? Are they just having them sit in place?
They let them dock right back with one of the drop ships on your jump ship.
Okay.
But they didn't want the fighters to just be like, yep, we're just gonna go fly back to the ship whenever we want to.
Gave them additional orders.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure that they flew exactly where they wanted to in very straight lines with no derivation, no hot dogging, no suicide runs, you know?
Okay. All right. I think that's all right. Cool.
Okay.
He waits for the count to show.
The count.
Count McDougall, welcome to the bridge.
Seems there's something that you haven't been telling us.
Not entirely sure what you mean. It does seem that our hosts wish to speak with you. Do you wish to speak beforehand?
Does Anko know?
Does Anko know about this interdiction?
Was she the one who gave you the go-ahead to keep doing your piracy?
Perhaps we should speak in the stateroom. Okay, so he'll lead Count McDougall to a stateroom so they can have a private conversation. I won't waste your time with extra pleasantries. You wish to know of what Lady Khan knows or does not know about?
If possible, we would all be able to leave this situation. Comstar wants something. I highly doubt it actually has anything to do with me or with the Lady Khan, because why would it? Leaves one pretty obvious option based on what they're asking for.
Possibly.
Which tells me that any so-called reform in your activities likely never happened. I'm just curious whether Anko also knew.
I see. To that, I have two things to say. The first is, when Lady Khan and I spoke above Whittington on my arrival, and we discussed the possibility of reformation, I engaged in those conversations in good earnest. I understand that I will not be able to convince you at this time of whether or not that is true or not. But there was specific things that Lady Khan requested of me in order to do so, and I agreed to them. One of those things was that within Federated Sun space, we would obey the laws of the Federated Suns, of which I give you, with what it does or what it is or is not worth to you, my word that I have stuck to.
Within Federated Sun space.
Correct.
What about without?
The periphery was not covered by that agreement. I did not wish to have anything happen poorly with Lady Khan, and I have mentioned to her that as a gratitude for the continued support that we as a people have received on Whittington, if she wished to alter the deal, that I was open to doing so.
So you've been raiding the periphery?
Yes.
And Anko is turning a blind eye. You understand the position this puts me in, don't you, LeBeau?
I'm afraid I do not. This is... Comstar has no more jurisdiction here than anyone else does.
They don't need jurisdiction. They could kill all of us. They have us, unless I understand even less. Frankly, I don't really know anything about fighting battles in space, but I'm given to understand it's bad to be ill-prepared and to be caught in a trap.
That is a universal truth in all warfare.
Right. So, it certainly seems like it doesn't much matter what jurisdiction they have. If they decided to try you for piracy, they're going to have a trial.
I have to say, something that strikes me as interesting is if they have said that they are here to try me as a pirate, why now? My father was a pirate.
That's what I'm hoping to understand.
My father was a pirate. My grandfather was a pirate. And, well, certainly in the years previous and in the periphery now, I am also a pirate. But I have been out in the periphery many times. My family has been in the periphery for generations. They choose now, of all times, on this mission to interdict this fleet and exercise the weight of firepower to intimidate us. I fear that this issue, I am the excuse of a larger issue.
Well, in that case, I'm going to need your help understanding what exactly caught your attention, because my gut is telling me that you pissed somebody off that you shouldn't have, because frankly, I don't see why they could be after me or Anko otherwise. It's not very usual for Comstar to get involved with nobility.
I agree.
Certainly not nobility from Whittington.
As far as people of significance that I may or may not have pissed off, most of the targets we choose to go for are the ones that we can roll, the smaller ones. We don't mess with the larger periphery powers. We can't stand against their militaries. Can you imagine somebody from, say, the last colony we went to having the clout to speak to Comstar and organize this sort of interdiction? We only knock over small targets and small fleets.
So you haven't come across anything you shouldn't have? Any accidents? Nothing like that?
No.
Something that you thought you had covered up?
On the periphery, we don't. Usually there's no survivors. To be perfectly frank. The only thing that I can see that is different from when we normally go into the periphery is, well, the presence of you and the other nobles in this mission that we're on. I don't know if this has anything to do with Lady Khan's husband, or as I imagine, any reason why you would have chosen to also come on this trip. Out here, we are not afforded the protections of the Federated Sons.
So what would you have me do then, Admiral? Because the way I see it, the easiest outcome is to play ball with them and let them have their trial.
Well, Count McDougall, I would not presume to tell you what I think you should do. I have known you long enough now to know that you are a man of his own mind.
I asked you what you think I should do.
I think you should leverage the fact that they did not choose to just outright kill a fleet of pirates. They have a reason why they have not just chosen to attack. And that reason, I believe, will be of importance to you if there's any way that you can draw that out. They're going to look to negotiate. If they weren't going to, we would already be dead.
I agree. And in service of that, I'm afraid, at least on the surface, I'm going to have to detain you or something. I mean, at the very least, give the order.
I understand. If I can only assume that because you asked me about any information that Lady Yonko would know, it's because she is also specifically at risk.
Correct.
If it will protect my lady, I will gladly be put into custody. What I can do to help protect my lady and protect my people.
I think that this time, like, this is the first thing that LeBeau said that actually, like, surprises Lachlan, right? He's like, oh, no shit. Like raises his eyebrows, like nods. He's like, well said.
I know that you may dislike me as a person, and each man is, of course, afforded his own opportunities and his own opinions. But I hope that in time, no matter how this resolves, I hope that there will be at least a little bit of measure of belief that I do intend to reform this crew.
It's not that I didn't like you, LeBeau. It's just that I never think of you.
That's when you walk
Lachlan,
out.
Lachlan stands up and he says, but what does make me like folks like you is loyalty. If what you said is true, maybe I do like you. And then he'll leave.
Lord Jasper Wheat. Crazy shit's happening all around this fleet.
Who? I'm sorry, who are you talking
Jasper
about?
Wheat.
Jasper's dead.
Who's Jasper?
Yusuf Wheat. Lord Yusuf Wheat.
Thank you.
Crazy shit's happening around this fleet.
Lord Jasper Wheat can be your next character when you have to play
Another bastard.
Play your son. Yeah.
That has nothing to do with you, and doesn't appear to be affecting your daily life too much. You do, however, have two interesting, outstanding requests for an engagement. Beyond just handling your mercenaries, all of whom are delighted to hear that LeBeau is getting his comeuppance. They just like it when people get the shit kicked out of them and go to prison.
They're just sadistic, aren't they? Yeah. Okay, cool.
One is a meeting with Duchess Harmony Lake, who would like to... She's invited you to a conference room on the main jump ship. And, you know, she's used the scheduling service with a meeting invite, so this is not a casual engagement.
Right. Is there an agenda attached to the meeting?
Discussing
I don't go to meetings without an agenda.
Discussing the future of the Wheat family.
Oh, okay. Very formal. Okay, sure. Should I have a lawyer? Should I? I actually will ask. Should I have a lawyer? Should I have legal counsel at this meeting?
She replies back, "What? Lol, is there a lawyer on the fleet? Double question mark."
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You, sirs.
That's
SRS?
okay. Then I'll bring my Battlemech. That's what I said. All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
no,
you just outrightly attend that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'll go to it.
Okay. The other request that you have is from Procenter Lucine Bluebell, who appears to be in charge of the Comstar forces. She would like to have a discussion with you.
And they're happening at the same time. I can only pick one.
No, there is a delay while they prepare for this trial, at which point Anko, LeBeau, and anyone that they'd like to bring with them within reason will be shuttled over.
Yeah, okay.
You listen, you have probably what's going to be days to attend these meetings. Neither of these is a priority. Although the Duchess would like you to attend at the time she requested.
Well, any meeting that lets me get out of having to beg, borrow, and steal any able body of my company to help with these kids is awesome. So I'm totally gonna take up this opportunity. Yeah. So let's go with the Countess.
The Duchess.
Sorry, Duchess. Yeah.
The Duchess has been taken to wearing a flight jumpsuit with a skirt over it. What you see instead is a gray pantsuit with Federated Sun's orange lining and like a white dress shirt and a Avril Lavigne tie. You know, one that's way too short to be a real tie and looks.
It's a Hot Topic tie. I understand.
Yeah. She's seated behind a desk and gestures for you to join her on the other side.
Right.
Lord Weed, I wanted to discuss my position with you. And your position as well. She shuffles papers around very formally and puts them into a pile and sets them aside, takes off glasses that she wore that were definitely just to take off to look more professional.
Yeah, they were lens. I don't realize it at the time, but they're lensless. Yeah.
No, they have lens. They're just not corrective.
Okay. Fair enough.
They're not lensless.
That's basically the same.
Yeah, man,
Again,
but it definitely looks better to have lenses.
You don't have to
Are they
make
at
things.
least blue light? Are they at least like blue light so that it like doesn't hurt his eyes to read screens or something?
You don't have to make things so complicated, you know, as I sit down.
I think you know my position as someone coming into power who, by the time we make it back, I will be making my play to ascend to my birthright. Even if we were to turn around now, I would be old enough to make that push. But I'm sure you know, because you are a good friend to him and have worked with him in the past, that Lachlan McDougall is very powerful on planet.
Yes.
Some
would say the most powerful.
Yeah. Okay. She nods. Probably unconsciously, she nods. Like she doesn't mean to give away that she's not the most powerful, and she nervously shuffles some papers around, and says, "I need to create my own power base. He has offered you a lordship. I would see you create your own barony, serve as directly underneath my house." And there's more. It would be very rude to say you are burdened with these children. You have chosen to undertake a Sisyphean task, pushing this boulder.
Thank you.
have a solution to your troubles. When we return, something will need to be done with these young folk. In my discussions with them, it is clear that they are not ready to integrate with inner sphere society. I would like to have the government fund for them a compound where people will be brought in order to bring them up to speed, help correct their language to inner sphere vernacular, help them understand cultural touchstones of the inner sphere and of the Federated Suns. And I would like to, as they are your people, I would like to offer all of them an opportunity to join a JROTC. I understand they're employed with your mercenary company, but once we're back in the inner sphere, that will be illegal because they are not old enough to sign on to that. But they are old enough, some of them, to join a JROTC and begin gaining military training under the armed forces of the Federated Commonwealth and the people of our planet.
I see. Well, giving me a lot to consider.
I will also allow you to choose the name of your barony and your own name. What I'm asking for, Sir Wheat, is loyalty.
Can I think it over?
You have until we arrive back, but I would prefer an answer sooner rather than later. Now, when she got on a roll, she was doing well, but now that you haven't immediately said yes, this house of cards is crumbling. She's like, oh god, oh fuck, something's wrong. He should have just said yes.
She should be offering more stuff. Yeah.
She's 16, guys, and this is the first time she's ever had to do interstellar politicking.
No. I'm not going to coach her and saying this is the first time, so I'm just letting her wallow here for a little bit. Yeah. I can tell you from a player, my intentions are entirely to go to Lachlan and let him know what she just offered me so I can get a better offer.
That's bad for her. You're basically dooming your Leo Lord.
Well, I would rather have I don't want Lachlan as an enemy. that perk itself is worth way more than whatever they could offer me.
Incredible.
That is very wise, because the thing is that the key here is that Lachlan can't actually move directly against the Duchess. So
you can move against me.
The best option is just kill anyone who allies with the Duchess.
Yeah, exactly. So very much not me.
The House of Lake will remember this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ultimately I'm going to have to politely decline after consideration, but I don't say that in this meeting right now.
Okay. Anko Khan.
Yes.
A shuttle is being prepared for you and Philip LeBeau, who they do not address as Admiral or Captain, just Philip LeBeau. Is there anyone you want to bring with you to be part of your legal counsel and team?
Well,
You're also allowed a emotional support animal. As part of Comstar's both secular and non-secular trials. I don't expect you to have one with you, but
I was the little pirate monkey.
Hey, if you'll let me retroactively have a monkey, I'll have a monkey.
Fine. What's the name of this monkey?
Jafar.
Wow.
Jasper Jr.
It's done.
Oh no! Actually, no, it's gonna be Jasper Jr. Sorry,
it's little Jasper Jr.
It's gonna be Jasper Jr.
All right, JJ's coming along.
Yes, JJ Abrams. Oh, sorry.
LeBeau would politely advise that if it's possible, if we could request the company of Count McDougall.
Yeah, Lachlan is gonna come along. Honestly, like kind of regardless of what anyone says, he's just gonna get on the shit.
That was kind of an expectation, honestly. Yeah, so
I was hoping to talk to the Countess at some point, but I guess we got to deal with the law first.
The law.
I think leaving for his executive officer, who will presumably sit on the bridge of the jump ship, just sort of tending to things.
Yep.
There will be a note in the chair for them to find as they sit there.
Yeah.
I guess I'll send you what it is. It's in line with some of the other stuff I already messaged you. So
Sure.
Oh, the secret messages have begun. Conspiracies.
Okay. I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, my cat.
you would already have it if I could spell.
Amazing. Incredible. The three of you and an emotional support monkey named JJ get on a Comstar approved shuttlecraft. You are met at the ramp by a man wearing a Comstar flight suit who offers to shake your hands as you come aboard. It says, "My name is Acolyte Percival Costigan, citizen of Terra. Welcome aboard, number 42.
Who are you referring to?
All of you, I'm welcoming you aboard my shuttle, number 42.
Ah, I see.
I will be ferrying you over to the jump ship tender, to the Olympus.
Very well. I'm sure you already know who we are.
I've read all of your psych profiles, yes.
Your hospitality is so appreciated. And I'll take a seat quietly in a corner and out of everyone's way so they can all do their thing.
Yeah. Uncle will be feeding their support monkey some nuts or berries.
Okay. If you don't have anything to say to Acolyte Costigan, he returns to the cockpit and gets clearance from this dropship to take off and head back over to the Comstar fleet.
Does it look...
Sorry?
I guess I would have just tried to make some general, like, one spacefaring person to another kind of babble, like...
Yeah.
Like, were you born in space? How long have you been with Comstar?
He introduced himself as a citizen of Terra.
Yeah, he's from Terra.
He definitely was born on the homeland of humanity. He does have a spacer's disposition to him. I'm just gonna be honest with you, LeBeau. You basically spent your entire life in space. This guy is better than you at being a spacer. He I don't know if he's, passively doing the math in his head, but he uses minimum effort to move around. Like, he'll ricochet off of 3 things in order to spend like 1 shoe tap in order to get enough force to transit down a hallway. You know what I mean? Like, he's good. He's really good.
Okay.
That's because they feed him right on Earth.
Best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess the feel for LeBeau's little bits of small talk is really just sort of like a...
Costigan will leave the door to the cockpit open if you want to talk to him.
Oh, absolutely. He'll just chat for the flight and it'll just be friendly.
Listen, he tells you about everything that's going on. He's got you excited for Curry Day. Like, when you arrive, you'll all be taken McDougall, and Khan to a different location. But it's Curry Day today. So what they do is they bring pineapples up from the planet, slice them in half, and then prepare a Thai curry in the pineapple halves to serve to you.
Delicious.
And then for dinner tonight, it's pesto pasta with avocado. Like, it's he's describing the food that they eat in this fleet way out in the middle of the periphery, and it's fucking amazing.
So what you're saying is, AP, is that we made the right call coming to this planet to resupply for food. However, Comstar was here before us.
You didn't know that the eats were this good, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, it seems that that you've had some time to set up a good, healthy infrastructure here.
When you say that, he pulls a series of instructional cards that are in the area between the pilot and co-pilot seat, and flips through them and then nods briefly and says, "Yes, that's right. We've been here for some time. As you may know, the Explorer Corps is preparing for their 80th year celebration, and we're one of the 8 prime directional bases here as we look for Kerensky's lost fleet. And I doubt it's in this direction. They left from the North Draconis Combine, but you never know what you're going to find out here. And I've personally made contact with a lost civilization of humanity, so and I'm just I'm an acolyte. Imagine what I could be doing by the time I'm a presenter."
Well, I have to say, one of the hidden charms that I think there are so many is he just sort of gives a gesture back at the other passengers. There are so many who do not understand about the joys of being in the periphery at times.
Well, I expect that what you do and what I do is quite different. Quite different.
Of course, but occupations aside, there's still a wonder in discovery.
As he is attaching himself to a small craft bay, you're looking at fairly advanced technology. He's not just landing in on a deck. There's a spot he slots into, and then it turns him around so he faces back out again. Pipes and fuel hoses are all coming down to attach to the craft. There's computerized voices talking to each other in the cockpit, confirming everything. And then the whole shuttle's red light kick on, and you hear the landing bay door lock. And you hear someone say, "Quarantine alert, unknown fungal entity aboard air system."
Yes. The last planet we were on had a bit of a fungal infection.
Yeah, he's looking panicked, like he's getting ready to lock the door between you and him, but he opened his ramp while he was on the dropship, so it's too late for him.
Quick question, AP. When he was telling stories of that they've been here for a while, or Anko would have kind of quietly listened, trying to observe body language and understand this person. I'm trying to see if they're lying about their how long they've been here, specifically in this location. And or just trying to understand if they're hiding something. They flip through a deck of cards. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if they're specifically what can I tell them? What can I not tell them?
I'm just going to tell you straight up that there are instructions on these cards on what they can and cannot discuss with you.
It's just PR cards.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Sure.
So the system you suspect is in place is definitely in place. Is he lying to you or not? Let's make that roll. It's a perception.
Should we be more worried about the fact that there's apparently living fungus in our ship's vents?
It's in the whole fleet.
Right.
Yeah, so don't worry. It's on LeBeau's list of things to find about fix.
That. Yes, we should worry about that.
Remember everything breaking down faster than normal and the air conditioning system having some problems?
Yeah.
Oh,
this is on LeBeau's desk.
You guys landed on Safai knowing that there is a massive airborne fungal infection and took no precautions at all.
Yeah, well, I didn't think of it. So,
hey, Pete, we're not, spacefaring.
I'm aware.
Whose fault is that?
You're nobles. That's why I let this
someone
happen.
Else's fault.
We're gonna blame the buff because he's the spacefarer.
This is why you don't let the Duchess be in charge of an expedition. See how things have started going badly?
Oh my God.
It begins.
You're seriously blaming a teenager for an expedition you organized? Bro, that's gonna play off so weak.
She's the highest ranking noble, AP.
Oh my God. Make this roll. Make this roll.
All right. You said perception?
Yes.
Clearly, she's too young to read.
Would I be able to use protocol at all by any chance?
No, not for this.
Okay.
First off, you don't know Comstar protocol. What's your total?
I got a 7 + 5, so that's a 12.
You sense an 8 lack of deception from Acolyte Percival Costigan.
Okay.
If he's lying to you about anything, it's probably because someone's lying to him about it.
Kind of probably a way that they've
He's a
learned
very
to hide
cheerful,
things.
sociable talker. You don't sense any attempt to withhold anything. It's just sometimes he consults the cards when there are questions, just so he knows what he can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
God, he is the worst.
For you, Lord Wheat, lockdown procedures are initiated throughout the jump ships and drop ships, but it's different for them because, of course, they're full of supplies and are completely self-contained. It just means that you're not going to be able to go see the Dance of Dragons in 2 days because it's on another jump ship.
Yeah.
You can watch a live stream of it, but you won't be able to view it in person.
It's just not the same.
For the 4 people and a emotional support monkey trapped inside of the shuttle with no refresher unit or supplies beyond a planetary survival kit, they are going to negative pressure you and get you things that may help you with your legal defense, copies of the Word of Blake collected tomes, food, and you'll be sealed in here for 3 days while they burn out the infection from the hull inside and out.
Oh my god.
Do we have calm ability?
Yeah. You can make
Lachlan
calls.
is going to tell the ship
There's no privacy on the
something.
shuttle, just to be clear.
Yeah.
There's a
but Lachlan is
partition to close the door and the cockpit. That's it.
But Lachlan is going to try to tell the people on the ship to do something about
The fungal
the
infection.
fungus.
They are doing something about the fungal infection.
No, I left my book on the other ship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Something-
The fleet is handling the fungal infection on its own.
Yeah. Don't worry. I
Okay.
was doing my job as an NPC.
tell them to,
That's part of the
to
maintenance
do it
reports. It's
more
right there with
better.
the plumbing.
think Lachlan reads maintenance reports.
Count McDougall, it is something that we are already rectifying on the fleet.
Clearly, it's been very successful so far. Good.
It seems that we need to be more careful in the future when making landfall.
I suppose so. And when bringing hundreds of screaming children onto our ships.
I want to be clear that the camera has positioned itself so that the three of you are having a quiet conversation. It turns slightly, and Percival is also seated nearby, and he goes, yeah, I should have worn a fully sealed atmosphere suit before making contact with you. That's on me. That's on me. I really should have done that. I just, I thought
it really is on you, Percival.
I agree.
What were you thinking?
I just wanted to present a personable face for Comstar. I hadn't thought that you would allow a severely raging fungal infection to roll through your ship's atmospheric systems.
As unfortunate as the
you know what they
circumstances.
say about assuming.
Yes, I agree. Oh, I am certain that this is going on my permanent record.
Well, as unfortunate as the inconvenience may be, it does mean that we get the pleasure of your company for longer.
That is true. That is true. Would you like to hear my favorite verses from the Word of Blake?
And I think I think LeBeau at this point, because we're the only people on the ship, right? On the shuttle.
Yes.
I think LeBeau is going to sort of give a look to Anko, I got this, and just sort of shuffle over and keep him busy so the two of them can try to have at least a little bit of privacy in the back of the shuttle.
All right.
Okay.
Throughout this whole period, whenever Lachlan's not, anytime that this guy tries to engage Lachlan, he's at first I think Lachlan was trying to be nice, and just very quickly he got so unhappy with the situation he's in, that he was just doing basically a version of what I've just been doing right here, where it's just like being really mean to the guy's face, but just like words nice, but like so sarcastic and very obviously not genuine. Just like,
He accepts it all with
just
an air of competent professionalism.
Yeah.
And LeBeau stays
Lachlan
super
is
friendly.
incredibly condescending all the time.
Oh my god. Good cop, bad cop.
You are all afforded the legal documentation for the upcoming trial. Like, as long as they have to wait for you, they basically want you to like step off the shuttle, take a shower, and then show up in court immediately.
Excellent. Now, AP, what are we working with? Are we talking like
what's the evidence?
Code law? Are we talking like English common law?
They are working with international naval treaties. Yeah. They have clearly recorded evidence of LeBeau performing pirate acts throughout the entirety of his lifetime. The acknowledgement that he was pardoned, their receipt of that pardon and acknowledgement of it, and then his continuing to commit acts of piracy in the periphery, for which this is what they're trying him for, is everything after that pardon.
Oh, just as a point of curiosity, does that mean that Lachlan can see that after the pardon, like his piracy discontinued in the Federated Sons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they have no recorded cases of you continuing there, but
okay.
You know, some of these cases are outright assault. Sometimes they're finding a stranded dropship and triple charging them. You know, your jump ship blew a motivator. You can come with us. Here's our invoice and price sheet for emergency situations. Outright theft of goods. Periphery planets that you visited on behalf of Onko Khan have things go missing in the spaceport, and you're charged with those crimes, and then you just never return, so you never stand trial for them. They're charging you for like dozens of cases of piracy, theft, assault. Nothing super dark like murder or rape, but it's damning. It's damning. Their cases airtight.
Of these are circumstantial.
There's eyewitness reports and Comstar confirmed forensics.
All right. Well,
it also includes a full psychological profile of LeBeau that they've been working on.
Let me ask you, AP, are those people here to testify?
They've previously testified. They have been subpoenaed. They've given affidavits and testimony, which will be replayed at the court. In addition, he's being, well, first off, you can't hearsay in a naval court, but all right.
I didn't even know that. Is that actually true? I have no idea.
I don't think so.
I know nothing about naval
The thing
courts.
about naval law is that just basically anything goes, right?
Well, I mean, international
knives.
It depends basically who
it's based
the
on international
tribunal is.
Yes.
Right, but each tribunal will have their own rules of evidence, but that doesn't really matter.
You're also tangentially being charged with an equal number of crimes against humanity in Comstar's religious court. They don't provide any evidence for this. They just basically assume that you're guilty, and this trial is a formality for that part.
Good.
They aren't required to they're just like, we aren't required to prove anything here. We've already got the evidence from it else. Onko, they basically have pinned, based on Lachlan's testimony, they've pinned LeBeau's actions on you. That you, through your deal, whether implicitly or explicitly, have allowed or ordered Admiral LeBeau to undertake these acts. And really, it looks like that's what the trial is about, is whether the non-religious part of the trial is whether they can prove that Onko ordered or through an action allowed LeBeau to do this. LeBeau's guilt is assumed.
This is actually I don't know if you did this on purpose, AP, but this is actually a classic international law question. where it's like just trying to attribute bad acts to governments.
Perfect. That happened completely by accident.
It's like literally like always a big one.
There's no psychological profile of you included in here. They don't really have a lot of your actions in here. There's none of the question of like, are you an ISF agent? Are you secretly working for the Draconis Combine? They don't need any of that to slander you with. For you, they want the facts. They don't want some crackpot backwoods disc jockey's opinion on you. What they want is the truth. Did you order or allow to happen LeBeau's rampage through the periphery over the last few years? And they intend to call you as a witness and allow you to be interrogated.
Okay.
All right. So your judges are a panel of 3 presenters of Comstar, presenter Lucine Bluebell of the Beta organization, presenter Gorsky Gurge of Omega Branch, and presenter Mbala of Chi Branch. It will also be attended by Adept Jill Rand of Mu Branch. And next to her name, there's an asterisk with no explanation as to what that means.
Oh, these are Greek letters.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any idea about Comstar stuff at all?
Does anyone have knowledge Comstar?
No.
Why would any of us take that?
I do not have that. Yeah, no.
I will allow you to roll protocol at a -4.
I have no politics. Would politics have anything to do with? No, it's not like relations with Comstar is not like a political.
Comstar. The only thing you would know is that Comstar has a specific branch to deal with political relations, and that branch is called Sigma.
Well,
I have.
So you know that. Here's what you know based on your knowledge. There is a branch called Sigma. It's a Greek letter. That presenters are given a rank, so it's either acolyte, adept, or presenter. They're given those ranks and their branch and the number of years of service that they have. After 20 years of service, you automatically advance to the next rank if you haven't earned it yet. So 40 years of Comstar service, you'll definitely become a presenter eventually.
So they have a very powerful union.
Yes. Because they are the telephone company.
Yes. Space AT&T.
The Church of Space AT&T.
Well, I guess they're really more the Church of Space Bell Atlantic, right? Because this is the 80s. This is before the breakup.
Wow. I'm just remembering all the Bell hardware I was still working on a couple of years ago.
So I have protocol at 6, so I'd be rolling at -2, so that'd be a 4.
I have protocol 7.
No, sorry, it's -4, so you'd have a 2.
Okay, so you might as well roll. Can I do like a perception roll or something to like see if I can get some like which of the judges are like which one likes us and which ones are like the hard line judges?
Okay, just outright. Presenter Lucine Bluebell is the commander of this fleet. You spoke with her, and she definitely Omni Mega Lows pirates.
Gotcha.
Go ahead and make each of those rolls.
All right, so I'm making a protocol.
Yes, at a -4.
All right, so it's a 3, I believe, because I got a 7 total right now.
Sure.
So +3 to this roll. Okay, that's a 11. I could re-roll that 3.
You will definitely miss some nuance with only an 11.
Okay. Let me re-roll that 3 to try to get a. Fuck, it got worse.
Yep.
It can always be worse.
Beta branch is scientific analysis. Presenter Gorsky Gurge is with Omega Branch, that's research, and Presenter Mbala is with Chi Branch, which is Terran Affairs, and that's Terran as in Earth. Not Terran as in someone who studies the ground. It's someone who communicates with Earth.
I got a 15 on my perception.
Wow!
I'm very perceptive.
Okay.
Wow. You just rolled really well, yeah.
Based upon the dossiers you've been given throughout this document, the first thing that stands out to you is that Adept Jill Rand has nothing in her file of value. It's all word garbage. Whatever her actual background is being hidden from you.
Sure.
Oh yeah, it's all like lorem ipsum.
Presenter Mbala of Terran Affairs seems to, at least on paper, literally on paper, appear to be sympathetic towards the nobility of the Federated Sons. This is the person who's in charge of Terran Affairs. He has written several papers about sovereignty and nobility and its importance in the inner sphere as part of a political socio-economic ecosystem of he was like dissected in a white paper, like shit flows downhill and then it comes back up again, but in terms of Word of Blake, so it's all about technology and hierarchy and humanity coming together. Presenter Lucine Bell is never going to be on your side. She absolutely hates LeBeau and is driving this witch hunt. And well, I mean, it's not a witch hunt. You've literally she caught a witch. She's got a witch right now.
You know, what about the R&D one?
Presenter Gorsky Gurge. Has everyone here seen Battlestar Galactic, the new one?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's been a long
the new
time.
one that's like 20 years old.
I know, dude. Like it's been forever now.
Okay, so I think it's between season 2 and 3. They find the Battlestar Pegasus, right? And it's in charge, like the Admiral Razor, right? She gets replaced with a dude from engineering, and he's like, "Oh, I'm captain of a Battlestar now." Like something goes wrong in the engine room, and he like goes back there personally to fix it. And this is the whole rest of the episode is everyone going, "Yeah, he was a good engineer, but a bad captain." Gorsky Gurge is a scientific researcher who has no stance in these proceedings, no neutrality. Sorry, there's like no bias involved. Gorsky Gurge is out here to look for Kerensky's fleet. Almost everything in their dossier is about. It looks like this whole base is Gorsky Gurge's idea. That as a young acolyte, he posited the existence of a paradise world out here based on past, like when they break down scientific data and they're like, oh, it looks like there's something in the oxygen band when we look at these stars. He was like, this star right here is habitable with life. No one's ever been there. Let's go there and set up a refueling base for the Explorer Corps. And for that, he was transferred to the Explorer Corps. He was not put in charge of the base. He is in charge of ground operations, where he has been growing super aurochs. They're like dire aurochs. They're like the size of large buildings. They're like 80 to 100 feet tall. They're like 90 feet tall. They can barely move. What they do is they use Battlemechs to like feed them. Like they push food towards their huge mouths. The cows just sit there and eat it and foie gras themselves fatter and fatter until they're slaughtered for fresh meat.
That's silly, AP. It's not that they can't barely move; they can't cowly move.
Oh my god!
They're not bears.
He has adapted genetically coconuts, pineapples, avocados, like a variety of tropical fruits to the planet, and has allowed them to set up a fresh, nutritional, and vitamin-rich world on less than 20 years of short. He's like, this is a brilliant scientist who doesn't appear to have any legal focus at all or any care for the affairs of men. When he's done here, he will go into the West. All right. Anything you want to do with that information before 3 days pass and I go talk to Yusuf? And these are the most uncomfortable days of your lives. There's a bucket that's been
Lachlan
provided.
is just Lachlan is working on his case.
Yeah.
LeBeau isn't going to say anything about any details, right? Like he's not going to talk about anything he's done, anything about the agreement with Lady Khan, but he will make it very clear that if there anything that Lachlan coaches him on, he's going to just accept readily.
Okay.
The only thing he will ask is whether or not it is the opinion that it would be a waste of time to speak of the reformations of his men.
Lachlan
he doesn't mind
say,
them hearing about that, you know.
Lachlan is going to say that he'll probably say something along the lines of like, honestly, our best bet is just to convince them that they can't try us. Like the sovereignty argument is the only one he thinks is going to be possibly a winning argument.
Okay. I mean, LeBeau doesn't really say anything. He doesn't try to rebuff it or anything.
Yeah, I think Khan also had that same idea. So Anko would be kind of in agreement there. There's, and I think there's maybe enticing. Well, and I wonder if this would be something that we would do like hidden in some way, whether or not it's via some physical means that they don't overhear. And abstracted from
you will never be able to hide anything from them. I'm telling you that out of character. You can try whatever tricks you want.
Fair enough.
Comstar getting information is the thing that they do. So
that's fair. Okay.
We all pick up Rogue Trader can't.
yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, they've already broken it. In fact, they probably spent years planting the information of how to do Rogue Trader can't in your head.
Yeah, Benny Gesserit style.
Oh my god.
You thought you were safe, but actually you're just doing what they wanted.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be more along the lines of maybe pointing to like specific, like in my head, Gorski's the one that we want to have sympathize with us in some way, because we are a fleet that is on a mission to find something specifically. Well,
appeal to his science nerdydom.
Exactly, because the other one hates your guts, and the other one. And actually, there's the Fed Son.
I mean, Umbala is sympathetic to Fed Son's nobility, and while
Yes.
you two are definitely nobility, I am at least somewhat technically a knight at this point. So,
Yeah.
how much they care about that's another thing, but they should at least be sympathetic to you.
No one on the fleet treats you like a knight, but maybe Comstar will. They're your last chance to be called sir.
Oof.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, definitely focus on those two to have them convince Bluebell, because Bluebell is the lead presenter, right? Presenter.
Yes. Yep.
Which means that they have the final decision, or they have.
You have no idea.
Okay.
That's even
Yeah, none of us know how this trial works. Are you familiar with the Franz Kafka novel, The Trial, in which you have a trial and you don't know any of the rules or what you did wrong?
Oh,
Kind of like that, only we know what we did wrong.
I mean, the closest analogy that I can think of is the Star Trek Enterprise or Next Generation episode where Q puts the Enterprise on trial.
Right. I made that reference last time, Eddie.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I totally skipped my brain.
It's the drumhead. That's one of like the 6 new Next Generation episodes I've actually seen.
Everything pulls off swimmingly. You're all given a chance to change into Comstar approved sweatpants and sweatshirts if you'd like, and take a shower.
That's all they give us?
Do you want something else? You want a Comstar jumpsuit?
We're nobility. Come on.
This is a fleet in the middle of fucking nowhere. You think they got Armani?
Yes. Well, let me ask the question. Do these have Comstar logos on them, or are they just plain?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing LeBeau would ask is whether or not they feel comfortable putting that on somebody who's on trial.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just part of a process to LeBeau.
Yeah.
So you can either wear your dirty clothes you've been sweating in for 3 days, or you can wear these nice Comstar sweatshirts and sweatpants.
I'll wear the Comstar clothes.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. After like day 2 or so.
Yeah.
No, you definitely.
I'd rather feel comfortable on trial.
The 3 of you are placed in seats across the table from the 3 of them. At aside from the table is Adept Jill Rand, who appears to be stenographering. But the 3 presenters treat her as if she's not there. Like not that she's a stenographer, they treat her as if she's heir. Presenter Bluebell gavels the session into being and says, Admiral LeBeau, would look well on you to surrender your fleet's Tomahawk aerospace fighters. It would look well on your case if you were to voluntarily turn SLDF Tech over to Comstar's control.
I'd like to step in here, if you wouldn't mind, on behalf of my
Please.
compatriots here.
That was a struggle.
I'd like to begin our case here with a sovereign jurisdictional argument, principally as long as maritime law has existed since Hugo
Let me
Grotius
stop you
first
here,
posited.
Mr. McDougall. Does this have anything to do with the matter of the aerospace fighters?
Count McDougall.
Mr. McDougall, if there's nothing about the aerospace fighters, we can wait for formatic procedural debates until we've settled.
Well, I'm afraid that the procedural debates are going to be quite crucial.
She gavels you and then says, Mr. LeBeau, your answer, please.
One moment, please. I believe those are not LeBeau's property anymore.
That's why
the 3 of them get together
argument is crucial.
And then she says, whose property are they?
Well,
Whittington's.
Regardless of the misuse of the property, it's owned by the nobility of Whittington, which
in
is
the
why
form
the
of
jurisdiction.
who you would refer to as Baron Philip LeBeau, correct? These are part of his armed forces.
He is no Baron.
Sir Philip LeBeau. They are directly owned and answer to him, correct? Yes or no?
Incorrect. They
Who do
answer
they
to him.
belong
They
to?
are not owned by him. They are owned by his liege lord.
Myself.
And through them, they are owned by the Duchess, Harmony Lake. As is all.
Baron Khan, same question to you. Would you like to turn over the Tomahawk aerospace fighters within that fleet? It would look favorably upon Mr. LeBeau's sentencing.
My question to you is...
I need the 3 of you to understand that we're not here to play word games. You'll answer our questions, and we will hand out judgment.
Yes, well, we are on a mission. So
Under the Go ahead, sorry.
Under the understanding that we are on a mission that will take us time and through space, if you let us continue, then those tomahawks were meant to protect us. So you would leave our fleet defenseless.
You have more than just tomahawks in your fleet. You are hardly a defenseless. So far, it's just been Presenter Bluebell talking. Presenter Mbala leans forward and just like, you are greatly overstating the weakness of your fleet. I would specifically point to several incidences where Mr. LeBeau was able to use but a single aerospace fighter in order to intimidate an entire planet. Right here on the July 6th incident.
He scratches the side of his head. He's like, yeah, I flew that one. But he doesn't say anything.
Admiral LeBeau's misuse of our property aside, it doesn't bear on whether you can levy judgment and confiscate property sovereign under the Federated Sun's banners.
Presenter Mbala says,
It's
this is not the Federated Sun, sir, and you are
it's
under...
axiomatic that under our banners, we have sovereignty.
Presenter Mbala says, allow me to stop you there before you allow yourself to get in far more trouble than you want to be in, Baron, or Count. If you draw yourself into this, you will be a target of these proceedings. If you want to claim leadership over the actions of Mr. LeBeau, you will be tried alongside him as a co-conspirator. These proceedings were to establish whether Anko Khan claimed ownership over Mr. LeBeau's actions, and by her own tacit admission minutes ago that she is the owner of these aerospace fighters, which have engaged in it. There's almost no need for this trial anymore. She has already admitted her guilt.
As I've repeatedly stated, ownership over the property has little to do with how it was used, and in this case, misused. Simply because the property is legally owned by one party doesn't mean that when it's taken and misused, that party is responsible for its use. I don't know what kind of court this is if you're not trying to get to justice, if you're not trying to get to truth. And the justice and the truth is that the unilateral actions of one man doesn't give you the right to deprive the property of another.
You said at the beginning,
we voluntarily are asking you to turn these fighters over, and this issue is now closed. You have not turned the fighters over. This will be remembered during sentencing. Mr. LeBeau, do you have any defense, secularly and non-secularly, for your actions in piracy, criminal intent, and acts against humanity? I assume you've spent the last 3 days looking at your own case file and are intimately aware of your own crimes, yes?
I have read over the files that were presented about me.
Have you found any false statements in there? You're like, my body count is so much higher than
yeah. It's like, oh man, well, when there's no survivors, there's no evidence. I think he's going to take a look to the side at Lachlan and see if he gets a nod to say that it's okay to say something.
I mean, if you're going to give Lachlan the floor, he's going to talk.
I mean, you're I think part of it is also just you're the sharpest in terms of legal speak out of all of us as players. So I mean, you might be leaning on you a little bit.
So I mean, LeBeau has talked to the law before.
Training helps a little.
Yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
LeBeau has talked to the law before, but he's also he's also not really sure how to navigate this and affect Anko.
I think if you look to Lachlan will say, to bring this back to the matter at hand,
Mr.
our principal
LeBeau,
argument...
Are there any false statements in your case file?
Are we allowed to present our case?
Your silence will be taken as a yes.
Is our case allowed to be presented to this panel? Or are you simply interested?
Do you have a case that involves refuting these crimes, or are you simply going to try to argue positional law within the inner sphere versus the periphery, because your titles and the honors which Comstar affords you are not relevant out here. And I am fully aware that you may lodge a protest with the First Circuit upon your return. And we are recording all of these proceedings, and they can be reversed on the decision of the Primus, to whom you may make an appeal. With that said, this court is exercising its authority as it sees fit, according to international naval law and the word of Blake's religious law. Mr. LeBeau,
it's convenient that you can brush aside
you
the jurisdictional
making any
issues
statement
under which
in
you draw
regards
your
to the
power.
truth or falsity of the charges against you?
I understand that there has been a great deal of information collected about my lifetime here.
It is a yes or no question, Mr. LeBeau. Are the charges against you, do you accept them or do you contest them as being false witness?
These events occurred.
Baron Anko Khan,
Yes.
we find it deeply troubling that you have supported these events. Do you have anything to say in regards to the charge that you have implicitly or explicitly allowed this dog off of a leash in order to hunt in the periphery and thus end and disrupt human life?
Sorry to just read it in my brain. They were basically asking whether or not
Did you let him do this?
Yeah, we want to say no because we're trying to claim that you had no idea he was doing this, and you thought that he was just doing good trader things. He was being a good merchant ship.
Yeah.
If we were to
it was
allow,
under my impression.
if we were to allow Mr. LeBeau to leave with you today, would you take any action in regards to the aerospace fighters which you claim that you have ownership over being used in Pirate X? Would you take any responsibility for your leal servant?
In fact, that is exactly what I intend to do. And it is what Count Lachlan has been, or McDougall has been attempting to present to you.
Presenter Mbala leans
jurisdiction.
forward and says, what actions exactly do you intend to take against Mr. LeBeau should you all be released today?
We will try him under the law.
Federated Sons law.
Where we will
He is a noble of the Federated Sons, is he not? A knight?
He is a knight of the Federated Sons, and it's, as such should be afforded due process under Federated Sons law. Yes.
And in the noble courts, which are in the Federated Sons notoriously corrupt.
You can call the courts, whichever court you want to call corrupt, if you are attempting to cast doubt and disenfranchisement upon it. But the truth is that they have jurisdictional power over its citizens. Unilaterally taking it into your own hands to say another court is corrupt and thus you should exercise jurisdiction is the exact same corruption you seek to root out.
I would love for you to make a roll on that one.
All right. Is this negotiation, acting?
I'll take either, honestly. And let me just tell you, Mbala agrees with you. This is for Gurge.
Ooh.
Gotcha.
Mbala agrees that he should be tried in noble court. But his job as a Terran Affairs officer is to smooth over these problems, so.
Yeah. Okay. Lachlan has a +9 in negotiation, so I will roll with that.
Ooh.
15.
The roll isn't good, but the numbers are good. Are you satisfied with that? With 2 3s?
In theory, 2 3s are both below average, so I guess I'll just re-roll and hope that it doesn't get worse.
This guy's gonna luck shot it.
Do it. You got
only
this.
had to re-roll this week. Also
do it.
got
You can
worse.
do it.
It's the same.
That got
5-1.
exactly the same.
So your total is
15.
15? All right, Courage. takes his glasses off and like cleans them for a second. The three of them lean in and confer, hands over the microphones. Gurge looks towards the adept in the room, Jill Rand, and nods. And she begins. No one's talking, but she's typing something. Gurge takes his hand off the microphone and he says, "We have every intention of trying Mr. LeBeau underneath religious law. He has been found guilty of being an enemy of humanity on multiple counts. Mr. LeBeau, I'd like you to approach the bench."
LeBeau will stand and approach the bench.
Lucine in the middle leans towards you and turns off the microphone so no one else can hear what's going on. And she says, "Admiral LeBeau, I'm going to make you an offer to save your life. If you offer yourself in service to Comstar, we will not try Baroness Anko Khan for crimes she has connected herself to you with. You will remain alive, and perhaps you may one day leave Comstar service should the Primus see fit to appeal our decision here. Should you not accept this offer, you will be executed immediately."
I understand that the proceedings as it has happened below the bench have been very direct. Am I afforded some questions to better understand this choice you have given me?
Yes.
I suppose my first question is, will I expect that I will be taking actions against Anko Khan in the future on behalf of Comstar?
Comstar does not act unilaterally against the nobility of the Inner Sphere. We serve the people of the Inner Sphere.
I understand.
You will be taken to Terra, where you will be enlightened spiritually. At that point, based upon your skills, you will be reassigned, I expect, to the Explorer Corps.
What happens to my fleet?
I have no idea. Whatever Mr. McDougall does with it. Normally, we would try everyone that is a current and former pirate, but doing so would leave several nobles stranded out here, and it would be our displeasure to have to haul them back into the Inner Sphere. It would take a huge amount of resources to commandeer the jump ship and get everyone home safely. Instead, we have determined that your execution or conversion to Comstar will sufficiently cow your fleet into obeisance in the future. A warning to never attack humanity again. She is not blinking when she's staring at you. It's actually creepy.
Okay.
Mr. LeBeau, we've spent so much time arguing with your noble friends. We're 5 minutes past the clock. You need to make a decision now. Death or Comstar?
I think maybe like if there's a like something that I can kind of do as like almost like a flashback, but sort of in that moment where it's like Lachlan had that conversation with LeBeau about like rewarding loyalty. I think like that might be like I don't think Lachlan would have so much said it, but he may have kind of like implied to you as like, look, if there's a situation where we can get you where you're not dead, if you're loyal to Anko, I'm invested in trying to help you and help you get out.
That's
whether or not he has the power to do so, whether he has the power to do so, maybe not, but you know.
Right. Perhaps. I'm trying to think how you would word this.
Wow, you guys are having a lot of trouble with yes or no questions today, huh?
You the very difficult and weighted yes or no questions, AP. So yes.
If I was to choose life, that would break certain oaths that I have made that I think would make me less trustworthy to you.
We know how trustworthy you are.
I'm trying to be more trustworthy than I have been in the past. And I know that...
We know everything about you. We're Comstar.
Sure. I just think that... I can't... If I choose to go with you, then that demonstrates to my men and their families that oaths can be broken. Those same oaths that I'm expecting them to follow to continue to reform and to become good standing citizens, as I hope for my people.
Their actions are not of any concern to us at this moment. We find that the most zealous converts are one who have to leave something behind in order to join.
Maybe, but I can't ignore the service to the humanity of those people and their futures.
That's your decision then? You will reply no?
If there is another form of penance or service that I may take,
okay.
I must ensure a better future for my family.
Who just pulls out a pistol and shoots LeBeau in the head.
Dang!
It's like a shock.
Yeah, it's really fucking shocking.
Yeah.
Right? Like blood just whoosh, and then hits the wall and bounces off because there's no gravity, right? So the blood like splatters and it's sailing through the whole room. Umbala is like, ooh, but everybody else is just like, okay, time to tidy up our paperwork. We're done here.
Lachlan is fuming.
Yeah. Anko's like basically knowing protocol, containing the disdain for what Comstar has like just willy-nilly just played judge and executioner.
Yeah. I think Lachlan just like stands and like gathers like any like papers or whatever that he has and just says, this unilateral killing of a federal son's noble will be remembered. I intend to lodge a formal appeal despite LeBeau's death. What you've done here, I believe it was a mistake, a miscarriage of justice. Turn to leave.
Okay. By the time you've made it back to your shuttle, they've provided you with like case file number, like they've pre-filled out the appeals form to the Primus.
Wow.
They've informed you like when they intend to send a jump ship back to the inner sphere so that the appeal can be filed. Like if you bring it back first, that's fine, but if you don't, they're pre-approving your appeal so that by the time you get back to the inner sphere, your case will have already been adjudicated.
Yeah, and to be clear, like Lachlan is not in this appeal like contesting anything that LeBeau should have did. He's like literally the entire argument is like
it should have been us. We should have tried.
We should have been able to hang him on Whittington. It's like not even like
he's our pirate.
Yeah, he's our pirate.
It's not even like we're gonna try him and then who knows? He might be found innocent. It's literally like no. We acknowledge that he would have been found guilty under Federated Sons law. It's just we get to either decide like if he goes to prison or gets hanged or whatever.
Does everyone have like 5 more minutes to do one more scene? The trial went on way longer than I thought.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I should be okay.
Eric, goodness, let's get back to you, buddy.
Hey, man.
You've got an outstanding invitation to a discussion with Presenter Lucine Bluebell, the head of the trial, who is currently wiping some blood off of her face, but would love to talk to you about humanitarian issues.
Yeah, I feel like I'm entering this meeting right with the news that I just found out what happened to LeBron, by the way. Like I just heard on the elevator or whatever.
They are holding the news. There are blackout communicating until McDougall gets back on your fleet ship with the expectation that you leave immediately.
Oh God. Okay.
So
cool.
the only communication you've received in the last few hours from the ship is this one.
And so I see this person wiping blood off them.
Yeah,
As I come in.
she's like wiping blood off of her face and says, "Sir, Lord, Yusuf,
whatever is fine. Presenter,
Please, Lucine.
presenter.
Our interception of communications between your fleet indicates that you have taken on a humanitarian duty of shepherding young children off of a dying world.
It could look like that.
Is there some other way you would like it to look?
No, I'm fine with that answer.
A troubling response, but very well. Comstar is sometimes a harsh order, but it is a just and good one. It is the stern father who looks over the humanity. And what I see when I look at your actions is the innate goodness that Jerome Blake saw in all of us. I would like to resupply your fleet with fresh fruit and vegetables and meat, nutritionally balanced, in prepared meal packages done by a Comstar scientist.
I think I'll have to talk to the admiral about that. They're the one who handles logistics, but
the admiral will not be talking to anyone. He has been found guilty of his crimes and was summarily executed.
What?
She finishes wiping the blood off of her face at that. She's like, "Oh, I missed some." It's like some real psycho shit.
Homelander shit, yeah. I'm sorry, what? Like, you know, like I obviously heard you, but like my, you know, Jasper. Oh my God, Yusuf's disbelief. You made me do it. It's infectious.
Privately,
it's the mold.
I offered Philip the chance to join Comstar and the Word of Blake, and he walked right into a bullet. He chose death over life intentionally.
Will I be walking to a bullet if I refuse your generosity?
We offer it freely.
Right.
There are many boons we would offer someone like you, but if you have qualms about accepting our help, we will turn an empty hand from you.
How dire is the stuff on our ship, AP? Like,
it's not bad.
This would just be a nicety. It's not a requirement.
Yeah, it would be a nice. I mean, it's cut basically a year off of your travel time, right? You came here in order to improve your nutritional supplementation and buy yourself more time. It's not necessary, but it was helpful. Right. If you accept this, it would be a good luxury.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think. Okay. Cool. I think I have an answer then.
Okay.
Might have humanitarian sentiments, but I also have a mercenary mind. And from you all who handle the mercenary review boards, you know that I don't want to leave a job empty-handed. Yeah, we'll accept your payments or we accept your gifts.
Have you thought of how you will handle introducing those children back into the inner sphere when you arrive? As she's saying this, she's faxing you over confirmation that several jump shuttles are on their way over to you with, the food, water, all that.
Yeah, and I realized that like basically she's going to tell me anyway, so I was like, what do you recommend? I have not given it a lot of thought.
Comstar has a very highly regarded resettlement program. If you were to turn these children over to Comstar, we would see that they find their way into caring homes across the Inner Sphere. This is
Very kind of
entirely an optional choice. We're not forcing this upon you. If you are the lord of these young folk, we would just want them to have their best lives. I'm sure you do too.
This will break up all of them and they get scattered across the world, right?
Yes. They're going to get scattered across the Inner Sphere.
Yeah.
They're not saying she's waiting. She's saying she wants you to take them back to Whittington, and then she's going to swoosh them everywhere. Oh yeah, for sure they're going to be converts. For sure, 100%.
You'll take them off my hands?
I would not say that we're taking them off your hands. If you were to offer them into our resettlement program, we would make sure that they led excellent lives, educated, well-fed, with jobs, all of that guaranteed. Taking it off your hands sounds so futile.
Very well. I promise them a better life, and I think that's one you can provide.
Peace of Blake be with you.
Also with you.
I think you will find many boons await you when you return to the Inner Sphere. As she ends the call, but she doesn't cut the call. She just cuts it to the Comstar emblem, right? She does the stream out button for you before cutting the call. It's a nice dissolve,
The last thing Yusuf wants to do is make more enemies right now. And that's what I feel like all my choices have been. So I'm good right now. You know what? I'll let them go unilaterally for them. Yeah. And I'll make the announcements.
Kane, I don't know that you have a contingency for you are killed and you don't give a speech before it. Is there
not any sort of immediate contingency? No.
Yeah, no. So you're.
I mean, he's got wishes that are left behind with his executive in case something happens to him, but not some sort of immediate action thing.
Yeah. So when the news gets back, Noah's there's confusion, and that's not good.
No.
As a way to.
Yeah, I was gonna say AP for sure. Anko would do something to prevent confusion and moral dissent.
Oh, I'd love a leadership check here, along with either an action plan or a short speech.
Okay.
I had to come into this episode thinking this would happen because dying on AP shows is a thing that I do a lot, apparently.
Damn.
Got to keep your brand.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, he got Ericvulgaris recently.
Yeah.
Oh, you got goused in the head?
Technically, yes.
I fell on my head, stood up, and then got shot in the head.
Oh my god!
All in a 10-second span.
Unbelievable. The odds against were enormous.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I don't have. Let's see if I can come up with a rousing speech. But first, I'll do a leadership check to see how well this goes. Is that okay? Or do you want the speech first?
I guess as long as I know that there's a speech involved, I'll say yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, basically all right, let me do the roll, and then I'll think about the speech while I'm rolling.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
17. Nope. Wait. Yep. 17.
17? Okay. Yes. All right. So even Van Loo can't whip these people up at this point. You're good.
Okay. And basically, I would go to Van Loo and specifically communicate to them he was not even given a chance to say farewell. We fought for him to bring him back to Whittington. We must keep the crew together. spoke highly of you, and
you can tell she's preparing to interrupt you and be like, we should get vengeance, but like several crew members nearby are taking it very Britishly. You know, they're very stiff upper lip. We must carry on in the Admiral's name.
Yes.
And people are waiting to hear your quiet speech. Like the bridge is silent, waiting to hear what you have to say.
LeBeau spoke fondly of the dream that he held for all of us to live a new life, a life where you could choose the path that you wanted as free citizens. While we did not get to finalize this voyage with the Admiral LeBeau, with Sir Admiral LeBeau, in his name, let us achieve our goals. And when we return to Whittington, you can do what you will. I give you that choice.
Oh, okay. All right, just make a note here. Van Loo, when you return to the inner sphere, you can do what you will. Bro, you are so bad at not incriminating yourself.
You just basically told these pirates, go be pirates again once we get back to the inner sphere.
To the leader of the hardliners.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Carry on in his name, and she's like, the name that I remember, the one that I wanted him to get back to was the rapey pillagey one.
Yikes.
Well, yeah.
They're going to turn LeBeau to a martyr. That's what's going to happen in the rest of this.
Meanwhile, I'll just throw this in here. We don't necessarily need to roll unless you want to. But meanwhile, Lachlan is just like in the background, like showing everybody like the trial video so that he can just be like, look at these monsters in Constar. Like, look at like how I fought for your captain. Like, and look at what Constar did to him. Like,
I would love a roll for this because you are not very highly regarded on this fleet. But if you want to become one of the guys right here, is like, look, I tried real hard.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I was considering doing something like that too, but I feel like I'm going to try to do
it's leadership. You're inspiring them.
I jumped out of
you want me to roll
does
for
somebody
you?
want to roll for me?
I
have a +9 to leadership.
I'm going to use LeBeau's dice for you. Yep, they came up like LeBeau's dice. You want to re-roll these?
Yes.
It's a 3 and 1. Oh, it's much better. Yeah, it's a 10 + 9 is 19.
All right.
19.
Listen, people on the bridge begin cheering your name.
Yeah.
McDougall! People are just like, he fought for us, for our admiral.
Look,
someone hands you, they crack open the last Glengarry ale left on the fleet and pour a frosted glass for you and slosh it into your hand, and they're just like, you're a hell of a man.
Yeah,
you know, I really underestimated you, Count McDougall.
Lachlan is like totally getting into this, and I think we get like his like a flashback to his like frat boy college days.
Solaris
he just like
at university.
throws the entire beer back, chugs the whole thing down.
Frank the tank. Frank the tank. Oh my god.
And it's like,
let's make sure your kids
like,
don't wander up onto the bridge during this.
Yeah, it's definitely like lots of just like kind of, we're in it together and like stick with me and like we'll get through this kind of that kind of stuff. You have positioned yourself. I'm glad you said stick with me because you've positioned yourself as the Scar among the hyenas right here. They needed leadership after the previous tyrannical pirate dictator died, and you have solidly slid yourself in. Anko has always been kind of a moderating force who promises things to them. You've put yourself in the firing line for them immediately. You have raised your esteem here.
I feel like combined we've created a set of loyalists.
Oh no. Listen, loyalty is rapidly shifting towards hardline McDougall.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to say is like
Van
between the two
Loo
of
and
us.
her murder pirates are definitely behind Anko right now. You've
It's
got about
also-
8 people who are the most dangerous people you've probably ever met, and they are backing Anko. They've just been given orders that they're allowed to do whatever they want when they get back to the inner sphere.
It's 28 horrific.
We'll have some conversations.
People.
We'll have some conversations. Don't worry. I'll mitigate that.
You just unleashed them in your name.
Perfect.
I was just thinking that it would be like kind of useful to have some, sort of awful enforcers on your secret police task force.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly what I was
just
thinking.
just
Yeah, of
throwing
course.
this out there.
All right, we're like half an hour past time, so you guys get an extended episode because we're not going to be back for like 5 weeks.
Yeah, this is a treat for all
rough.
the patrons out there.
Take 6 experience points, except for LeBeau. You can take 5.
We'll just transfer it over to Van Loo. You know, we'll have you take it.
Is that his new character for the next time he gets?
If you guys want me to
You
come
take
back
308.
as Van Loo, I will come back as Van Loo.
Dude, I mean, honestly, I'm very curious to see how that would
We
play
are gonna
out.
have
like-
to make you a character sheet for her.
Because I have a whole like headspace for Van Loo,
Oh
and she
no!
is very different from Philip LeBeau.
No!
Oh boy.
Perfect. Eric, I'm sorry I didn't get as much time with you as I wanted. Things got a little crazy, but
We had plenty of things to do. Don't worry about it.
don't worry. When we come back, we will be playing a game where you strategically assemble a Victorian-esque party.
Perfect.
Tables, chairs, who gets what invites,
Party
who's sitting
planning.
next to who. Yeah, we're doing tactical party planning.
Oh my god!
Sick. All right, looking forward to it.
Excellent.
Generating heat, figuring out where my mother-in-law's going.
You don't have a mother-in-law yet.
I know.
You're not married. Unless you want to change that by the next
Expression.
episode.
It's a figure of speech.
Any closing remarks? Kane, thank you for joining us and dying
Kane.
for the second time this week.
Wow. I mean, I'm like Kane said in the chat in the Zoom
Like,
chat.
I've only been on like really on one show and then guesting on this one, but I've still managed to die 3 times.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like Kane said in the Zoom chat, like I was also wondering if there was a scenario where if Lachlan had rolled just a little bit higher, would it have gone another way?
They were preparing him for religious indoctrination from the beginning.
Oh my god.
The quarantine was a boon for them, but the plan was always to make him read religious texts, dress him up in Comstar clothes, all of the subtle marks of indoctrination to prepare him for the ultimate fate that they had decided for him, which was he would join the Order or die.
Wow.
And in the end, whether Anko picked up on it or not, he was more loyal to Anko than he was to his own life. And that dream that he has for his people that is totally just gone.
No, yeah. That's kind of why I said the things that I said. Granted, I did use the wrong words in regards to giving them an untethered leash to potentially go after.
It is kind of funny how the two of you, after he died, ended up through either accident or not, totally voiding his thinking he was going to have a noble death.
They've managed to make you a martyr and push their own positions higher.
Yeah.
Sheesh. What a cursed death, bro. What a cursed death.
Sorry, dude.
We'll be back. What's the exact day? Does anyone remember? Like the 21st or something? Well,
yeah, August.
You'll get the
20
episode
something.
when you get the episode, audience. Let's just put it that way. Shit happens all the time. Goodbye. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
And remember, always use McDougall, Khan, and Wheat, attorneys at law, for your international maritime issues.
Oh no. We'll always get you cake or death.
Yeah.